what I can do is stack the probabilities in my favor, and I can get better at learning how to see that fractal information to kind of lessen the information overload, so to speak. And then at that point, you know, I can hone my skill. I can get better and better and better. And what's cool about this part right here is because we had this big downtrend, okay? And these were like some of the first moves up, right? And a lot of these, I guarantee you, if we were to go back in time, would line up and be what I call the relevant market structure points. I'm just roughly kind of marking these as to not take a bunch of time, but so these would almost assuredly mark as relevant market structure points. I would probably say, yeah, that one. So if we kind of look, let's just go up a time frame here, and then let's look like what happened with those levels in the future. You can see how there's like clear reactions to those levels or right around them. You know what I mean? And you can see, and like, look, comes up, bounces off of it. That one was pretty close, and obviously I didn't like dial these in perfect, but you catch my point. And it comes down, almost bounce off that, bounces, right? When it comes down, breaks through it, resistance, breaks over it, bounces off of that, moves up, you know, and even still down here, like, look, the same thing is still happening. Bounce, comes down, resistance, comes, breaks through, bounce, breaks through. Look at that bounce right there. Boom, like perfect, bam. It's kind of floating around it, bam, loses all of them, testing some for resistance again, starting to wick it, so it's starting to show that it's maybe moving up, blows through them, so which is good, but then loses them really quick, and that's because of what it hit back here, right, on the higher time frames. Again, you know, you see how it's reacting to those.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's not like we're going to take these major levels and we're going to trade them one-to-one in the future, but they help us kind of get our focus. Like, where do we need to look? Well, I call them like using a magnifying glass. It's the same way I think about using Sean's trends. They're my magnifying glass. They help me to add confluence to my suspicions or predictions, however you want to put it. And they just also help me to, where do I need to look, right? Like, if I've got all this information here and it could stop anywhere in here, but if there's a trend and the timing, the vertical and the horizontal axis lines up, if I've got, like, let's say a trend, like just for instance, like this, right? And let's just say like I'm right here in a move, but it keeps coming up. And as it gets closer, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm on, let's say, the 4 hour, I know in, you know, 1 or 2 more candles, it's going to be right around here. And I'm like, all right, what is back here that lines up with that? And has the candles, have they been wicking it, or have they been respecting it? Because if they've been respecting it, I'm going to suspect they're going to do the same thing, and maybe they do wick it. So I'm going to give myself a little margin for error. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back here. All right, now, instead of looking at this whole area, now I'm looking at this. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of helps us tighten our focus, so to speak. Think about it like an old man or woman, and they're trying to read the newspaper, and they can't without their glasses on, but then they go and get their reading glasses on and like, all right, now I could do this crossword puzzle and knock it out, right?